Hey guys, good afternoon everyone here. It's been pretty intense 2 days. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a bit tired. So what we're going to try to do now is to have a little bit of fun. If I spoke here for half an hour, probably some of you might get asleep. I would. So we're going to try to do this a bit fun and interactive. And why is that? First, because it's Friday afternoon, so we all want to have a little bit of fun. If I could, I would bring some beers, but I don't have the way to get them. But the second reason for that is because we're going to have a look at Drupal, but applied to the soccer industry, which is normally not a very common combination. So hopefully, this will be a little bit fun, which is the whole thing. Now, before starting, just so that I get to know you a little bit more, how many of you enjoy, in one way or the other, Drupal? All of you guys, perfect. That was expected. Now, a second, a bit trickier question. How many of you enjoy soccer as much as Drupal? Okay, well, half of you guys. Okay, perfect. Hopefully for the other people here, it will also be interesting. So today we're going to see an interesting case of how Drupal helped a soccer club, which, as you can understand, is also a company, improve their digital performance, if you know what I mean. Before starting, I'd like you to understand who this person here is a bit more. So let me give you a 30 seconds introduction. So I'm RAFAEL MARTÍN, Spanish, engineer, entrepreneur for my whole life. So I've never worked for somebody else. Started co-founding my company 14 years ago. The company is called Emergya, and we've been doing our best to increase our value for our clients and to grow as a company for a long time. And so far we are 350 people. Most of them are based in Sevilla, Spain, and 100 of them are based in Santiago de Chile, where we have another office. Now, in these 14 years, I've been doing all kind of different types of work. I've been a programmer, I've been a project manager, I've been salesperson, I've been COO, I've been a country manager twice. I've been working at an assembly level programming, but also at creating business in a new region like Chile. So I think I have a good understanding of this industry from different parts. So I'm happy to take questions at any time about either the technical side or the business side, which I prefer nowadays more because I'm more into business now. Now, let's get into action. So what are we going to look at today? Well, first of all, we're going to understand what is Sevilla Football Club. It's a soccer team, of course. We're going to dig a bit deeper on that. Secondly, important, we're going to try to understand what the challenge was around 1 year ago when we were hired by them. Third, we're going to talk about how we built a solution for them, using Drupal, obviously. Then we're going to talk about the results, which is something sometimes we forget, that whatever we build have to bring measurable and clear results for our clients, right? Then we're going to talk about the Drupal community. We believe that we are here with a mission to serve our clients, but also a mission to serve the communities we are taking things from. And Drupal is one of them. We are very much involved into that. We're taking a lot from Drupal, and we feel that we need to contribute to that. So we're going to also mention about that. And then probably the top 3 takeaways that we learned during this project. And finally, if we have time, you allow me to describe in 1 minute what Drupalera does, which is a brand into this Emergya group. Are you guys ready? Okay, perfect. So first, I'd like to create a little bit of atmosphere. We're talking about a soccer club, right? So I'd like you to watch a video. It's going to be 1 minute. And it was of a recent game between Sevilla Football Club and Real Madrid, which you probably all know, just to understand the atmosphere that this club is able to generate in their stadium. So let's go for it.
Segundos el ambiente del himno y hacemos el último alto en el camino. Ambientazo en la grada del Sánchez Pizjuán, con todas las cartulinas blanca y roja y a garganta capela la afición del Sevilla cantando el himno del arrebato.
Every time that I hear this song, it gives me like a bit of goosebumps. It's pretty impressive when you are in the stadium. So, and I have to tell you something, confession here. So, yeah.
I couldn't help myself. I forgot who won that game.
What's that?
Who won the game?
It was Real Madrid, I think. Yeah, but you have to understand something. I'm here talking about the Sevilla Football Club. In the Sevilla city, we have two clubs, Sevilla and Real Betis, right? I'm a supporter of the other one. And I have to tell you about this because I'm a businessman and, business goes first. But I'm not really a fan of this club. But anyway, I'll pretend that I am, and I'll talk about that openly and optimistically, okay? Now, who is the Sevilla Football Club? Well, it's a historical Spanish soccer club that was founded in 1905, so over 100 years ago. And it's been one of the most successful clubs in history, especially in the past 10 years. In the past 10 years, what has happened is that, as you might know, Sevilla Football Club has been booming. It has won 5 Europa League cups. It has won 1 Super Cup and 2 Spanish Cups. Now, what happens when you're a soccer team and you become that famous is that that has pushed the brand to unprecedented global recognition. Now, can you imagine that? So you're a soccer team, Spain, many people know you in Spain, but not so many people know you out of Spain, and especially in other countries. But then suddenly you win a lot of stuff and you become super famous. Now, we're today talking about digital, right? Digital, Drupal, websites. I have a question for you. What are the question is going to happen in 1 minute. Before that, just to give you a bit more background about this. This is the operating income of the club as a company in the past 5 years. So as you can see, here is 60, and here is 120 million euros in revenue. So it has doubled in 5 years. Okay, that is big growth. And so it has also attracted an unbelievable amount of interest and attention. And I have a previous question for you. Do you know who this guy is? Who is that guy? Correct. And the name of the guy? Anybody knows? Nobody knows? I mean, what about so you Drupal fans, you are not Game of Thrones fans? So this guy is called Tyrion Lannister in the series. So the whole team of Game of Thrones came to Seville to have some recordings there, and they took the advantage to go to the stadium and watch a game of Sevilla, and that became viral. So many people that are following Game of Thrones got to know about Sevilla Football Club. So it helped a lot the brand recognition. Now, this is the soccer club we're talking about. A lot of things are happening recently. But now, the question I have for you is, what happens to your brand when suddenly you became so famous in terms of digital? So what happens to your digital ecosystem? It's a question for you. What do you think that happens? Any idea, any comment? Very good. That's a very good point. Exactly. That's one. What else? Nobody else? Come on, guys. You know about this. You know about digital. What happens when you suddenly are super famous? You have a website there. Your digital strategy is not helping to address the new situation. What else?
You receive very many visitors at a certain point in time, and you have to scale.
Very good point. Exactly. So you might not be ready for this new increment in traffic, this new increment in variety of people that are coming. You are not only having Spanish-speaking people coming to your website, but you might have Japanese people or Korean people that suddenly heard about you. They want to know more about the team. They might want to buy T-shirts, but for that, the website has to be prepared for that, right? So what happens here is that you have to question yourself if you are ready for this new challenge. And of course, you might have challenges, as you guys are saying, but you also have opportunities. So suddenly you're having an unbelievable amount of new people that wants to know more about you. And they go to your, let's call it online equity, your different platforms where you are present, and they want to know more about you. So you have an opportunity to engage with many more people that are coming to get to know more about you. So what are the main challenges that Sevilla faced? First one was that the website was not optimized for such increased traffic and diversity. That was one. Secondly, as you pointed out very well, their digital strategy was not prepared to tackle with this amount of people and the way they were trying to reach the club. And third, the website was not really prepared to be easily updated, not only the website, but also the different platforms, such as mobile applications that were available and things like that. But again, there were also opportunities. For example, you could leverage this huge media attention and interest that suddenly happened to be there. And also, you could push forward your digital strategy to increase your social media equity in terms of number of people engaging with your brand online. And thirdly, you could try to expand your brand reach internationally. So you could try to be more recognized in places where you were not 10 years ago. And these all were challenges that we had to face as an agency working for this club. So what happened was the following. This guy here, he's the chief marketing officer of this club and this company. And this guy needed an expert Drupal digital agency. You might be wondering why specifically a Drupal agency? Well, the answer is very simple, because they were using Drupal 7 for the website. It was not very well developed, not very well finished, but it was there, and they wanted to reuse as much as possible what they had. So they were specifically looking for Drupal help. So they found us. And there is an anecdote here, very interesting. So this guy and his team, obviously, they did some research on the internet, looked for Drupal agencies in Spain, in Seville, blah, blah, blah. And they found us, and they called us. But the anecdote is that our office is 50 meters far from Sevilla Stadium. So he could have just then come knock on the door and say, hey, guys, I need your help. But no, he found us using Google. So what was the mandate we received from them? Well, this guy wanted us to help them improve their brand performance in the digital space, to increase their audience and improve conversions. In short, they wanted us to help them grow on the internet. That was it. Now, we put this mandate on the center of our work. And we did a preliminary assessment of what they had in place. We looked at the digital strategy and their web development. And what we found was the following. First, they had an extensive, fragmented, and diversified digital equity. So they were present in different platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, some blogs, the website, mobile applications, but they weren't consistent. So the way they were communicating was very different, and it didn't make a lot of sense. And there was another problem. Most of it was in Spanish. And again, for Spain it's perfect, but out of Spain, nobody or not many people understand Spanish. And third, they had a very low acquisition rate from social media. So you can imagine how passionate people are when it comes to a soccer club. And in social media, they're always arguing about the fault that wasn't a fault and the blah, blah, blah. But they weren't leveraging that to get new people visiting the website. And in terms of the web development, there is something interesting that happens in the soccer industry. You know, you have games, and after the games, you have news. Like, for example, some soccer player makes some declarations that are, you know, very disruptive. Or suddenly the club announces a new hire of a great player. And when that happens, you have suddenly thousands of people that in 5 seconds go to your website. Thousands. Why? Because they want to know at that point of time what happened. And that means that the website and the infrastructure has to be ready to support that. Now, the other thing that we found was that the website was not prepared for multiple languages and that the content management system had to be optimized. That's what we found. So what did we do with that? Well, first of all, we chose Drupal 8 as a platform. Think that this was 1 year and a few months ago. So Drupal 8 was still, you know, starting. It was not very well proven. Honestly, we didn't have like a lot of developers that knew a lot about Drupal 8, so it was a bit risky. But we decided to go for that for a few reasons. First, it's because of the multi-site and integrations capabilities that they had, which were very useful to integrate multiple sites and have a unified content management system for the content admins. So we were able to create a common place to generate the content once and have them spread in all the platforms. Now, second reason, well, sorry, I forgot to mention that we had to make some integrations with the Opta and MEST platforms, which are very much specific to soccer clubs. They provide statistics and things like that, so you want your website integrated with them. And we also had to integrate with their mobile applications. Now, the multi-language capabilities, we all know about that. They had plans to have more than 6 different languages, so it made sense in that perspective. Security, you know, Drupal 8 is extremely secure. They included the Twig template system that makes it even more secure. So from this perspective, again, it made sense. And performance. We wanted to have a highly responsive and high-performance platform here. So we had to implement something that we called the CloudFront module that we contributed to the community, but I'll come back to this a bit later. Now, this is what we did in terms of the web development, but that was not it. We also had to work at the digital strategy level. And what we did was, we did some market analysis and benchmarking. So we looked at competitors, other clubs, how they were doing, how they were engaging with their fans, and to try to understand better what we could propose to this team. Now, secondly, what we did, we created targeted style guides. So we identified different targets. You know, older people, younger people, foreigners, and things like that. And we created different templates to target them, to communicate to them. So it was not the same thing to communicate with 50-plus people than with teenagers, for example. You know, the language you use is completely different. So that's what we defined here so that the club could communicate in a consistent way. And thirdly, we had this discussion about SEO, if it was important, not that important. I have a question for you. How important would you say for a soccer team, well-known soccer team, SEO is? Would you say it's very important, not that important? You're saying not that important. Why?
Because you know the club. So when you go to search, you search specifically for that club.
That's exactly the point. Very good. So you don't search in Google like, what is the best club in Sevilla? Or what is my favorite club? I mean, you don't search for that. You know perfectly well. So in these teams, it's not that important, right? But what we did is created branded content. Again, following the targeted style guides, we created branded content so that they had a unified way to present themselves in different media. Okay, so what were the results? So first of all, this is the website we created with their mobile applications and all that. And what we observed after we put this in place was a 10% increase in monthly traffic. It has been consistently increasing over the past month. We've had a 10x improvement in performance, which is a lot. We've had improved user experience, more stability, high availability, more scalability of the website and the code, and so on and so forth. And what we have today is 1.5 million people in Facebook, almost 1 million in Twitter, 250,000 in Instagram, and 250,000 unique visitors every month, which is a lot. Now, this is what the client said when we finished the project for them. He said, Drupal understood our needs extremely well, applying their deep digital knowledge to the football and sports industry. Engaging with fans, increasing our database, and designing new digital assets are critical for a club like us. Drupalera's team has more than met our expectations. This is, this is the best thing you can have after you finish a project. Such a, nice client telling these things about you, right? Now, this is what we did, right? We created a new Drupal 8 website with an updated digital strategy. But as I said before, we work very closely with the Drupal community. We really do. We actually organized one of the Drupal camp events in Spain in 2014, I think it was, with over 300 developers coming there. It was sponsored by a company. So we really are committed to the community. And every time that we deliver a project to our clients, if we happen to have developed some kind of new module or whatever, we try as much as possible to contribute that. And that's what we did here. So we created this CloudFront edge caching module that we had to develop because we wanted to use the Amazon CloudFront cache system, but we couldn't find any proper module to communicate with that properly. So the problem was that when we wanted to update contents in the website, they were not spread in the Amazon CloudFront cache system. So we had to create a way to tell them, hey man, we are updating content here, you have to publish new content there. And that's what we did with the new module. It's not a very, it's very niche, very specific module, but still it has been updated into Drupal.org, so it's open to anyone. Now, if you want to have more information about it, I can give you links and all that. Now, what are the three main takeaways or the three main lessons that we took out of this project? First one is the one that I like the most, and probably the one that we did wrong most of the time in the past, which is the technical decisions should always, always come after a clear understanding of the business objectives and a proper digital equity assessment. We, as a company, used to present ourselves as Drupal experts. And we are. We have like 60 people that are really, really good Drupal developers. But the thing is that we only need to propose Drupal if it makes sense. And how do you know if it makes sense or not? Well, it depends on the business objectives and what you find that the client has. Sometimes Drupal might be the best decision, but some other times it might not. So that's why we also use other technologies such as Symfony or Java, because sometimes they might suit better. But whatever the decision is, it has to come after the requirements that you have from your client. Second lesson would be that Drupal 8, this is something we learned in this project, is really a powerful platform that takes Drupal to a new level of integration, performance, security, and scalability. Probably you all know that, but we didn't know that when we started this project, and we learned that. And third, the contributions to the Drupal community is not only an ethical must, but also a good business idea. Why? Well, the ethical part, everyone will have their own, personal ethical priorities, but on the business side, it makes a lot of sense. Why? Because if you as a company collaborate closely to a community, in this case Drupal, you have a lot of chances that whenever you need them, they'll be there for you. And for that, you need to work every single day, working with them, uploading stuff, going to events like this one, these kind of things. And if that happens, and if you do it right, whenever you need help from them, whenever you need a good developer, they'll be there for you. So that's why, from a business perspective, it makes sense. Now, just to finish, a few words about La Drupalera. We have 4 offices, started in Seville, as I said. We opened in Santiago, London, and now I'm the only extremely happy and motivated employee in Zurich. I'm trying to replicate what we did in Santiago in the center of Europe. So we are trying to create a sustainable business over there. But Drupalera is just one part of a big company, which is called Emergya. Emergya is a group We have over, well, this is 12, but it should be 14 years of experience, over 350 engineers, and we are trying to have a lot of fun while developing value for our clients. That's what we do. So if you want to have, know more about ourselves, these are the typical links. And there's something else. There are 3 reasons why I would love to talk to you guys. 1, if you are a developer and you would like to join us, come talk to me. If you're an agency and you'd like to collaborate with us, come talk to me. And if you're a client that need some expertise in Drupal, please come talk to me. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, I'll be around. Or you can ask some questions now and then maybe later. Whatever works. Yeah, please. Yeah, so the specific technical details I'm not sure about because I didn't participate in the project specifically. But what I know is it was a combination of the new translation capabilities that Drupal 8 includes, plus I think we use a specific module for that. But I don't know the name of the module, to be honest. But if you're really interested in that, I can get you in touch with the architect that led the team. Okay? More questions? And by the way, we did everything using Agile, just in case. Any other question? No? So let's go for a coffee or a beer, maybe? Okay, see you around. Thank you now.